Hi, my name's Jo, this is Joey Sewy and welcome back for part 2 of my DIY dress form review. If you haven't watched part 1 then there'll be a link below so that you can see part 1. In part 1 what I covered was what this is all about, how I came to find it and why I chose it and why I was dissatisfied with my old dress form, my old expensive dress form, and all about how to measure yourself in order to place the order to get the pattern for a dress form. So here we are in part 2, and what I'm going to cover is the process of making it and how it's turned out and my overall impression. So here she is finished. I made her a little while ago, and actually if you're an observant type you will have seen in previous videos she normally sits back in the corner over there, so you might have met her before. When you have ordered your PDF, you've got your PDF, you stick it together just like any other PDF pattern. You print it out on A4 paper or US letter size, is that what you do in the US? I don't know, never printed anything out. You print it out on the regular size paper you normally do, you tape it together with sellotape, however you normally do that. If you don't know how to do that, one day I'll probably do a video, but you can search, there are plenty of videos about what to do with PDF patterns. It's pretty simple, it's a boring process, but it's pretty simple. There are quite a lot of pattern pieces. I'm just having a look through, and the reason why there are quite a lot of pattern pieces is to get the accuracy of the fit. There's no other way of doing it. So there are 13 pattern pieces out of your main fabric, which I chose a dark blue. And there are 4 pieces which go internally, which you could do in a different fabric, and there are 2 pieces that you cut out of cardboard or something like that. So the pattern pieces, in short, there is a seam line here. So the front and the back are split into 4 panels. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the back is the same. Yeah. And then the front also has a section to here, the cup section, and this little bit. That's probably the trickiest part to sew. And then there's that bit, and then there's that bit. That bit isn't a separate piece, but there's quite a few small pieces. Actually, I think I've just told you a lie. Wait there. Right, here we go. Okay. I don't know if that's any use at all. I may insert a picture instead, but that is the pattern layout. All I want to give you there is an impression of the complexity of what you're going to have to cut out and what you're going to have to sew together. It's not the most complicated thing you're ever going to make, but it is relatively complicated, especially, as I said, this section and this section. That was the trickiest to get a nice finish on. The sewing instructions are comprehensive. I'm just having a look now, but there's like 47 pages. It's photographed throughout, so the reason why there's 47 pages is because there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of photographs, but basically you sew it together as described. I'm not going to go through that because the instructions do it absolutely fine. The trickiest thing, I think, actually is not the sewing, it's the stuffing. And the reason why the trickiest thing is not the sewing, is the stuffing, is because if you've done good measurements, you've got a good pattern, you just sew along your lines and you create this bag, essentially. Then to make it into a 3D form, you've got to stuff it. And that is where you actually create the shape of your body. So for information, I stuffed it with pillow stuffing. So in England there is a shop called Wilko's, and it's a bit like Walmart in the US. It's what US people would call a big box store, although if you came from America and looked at it you'd say this is a really tiny shop, but hey, we're England, we do things small. Anyway, it's a homewares shop. They sell stuff like pillows, and they sell the cheap pillows. So if you're in England, I bought the cheap pillows. I think they're like £3 for 2, I think. You need a lot of stuffing for this because she is firm, okay? A human body is firm. A human body doesn't squash like a teddy bear, so you're going to have to shove a lot of stuff inside that thing. It takes a lot. So buy more than you need. You can always take back ones that you don't use. I think I used 4 pillows worth, just so you know. You don't need anything that's toy safe because it's not a toy. No one's going to be chewing on that, are they? You don't necessarily need something that's strictly fire safe, although I think all stuffing would be, and pillows would certainly be hygienic and safe enough because they're made for us to put our heads on and sleep. So yeah, basically when you're making it, the hardest thing you're going to have to do is stuff the thing. And you just have to go carefully, go slowly. You stuff from underneath. It's very attractive. You stuff from underneath. So you're filling this section first. The first challenge you come to is these. And you just have to keep moulding, pushing. It's, you know, you get really intimate with the poor lady. But you have to do it because the shape, let me show you a profile. So this shape is going to have to match your shape. And do I really want to do this? But I don't think I can get on my tiptoes well enough for you. There you go. So my profile on my bust is that. Her profile is that. I think I got maybe 80% success rate with it. It's all right. I did have a hilarious couple of hours of stuffing it with my husband in the room and going, is that like me? Is that like me? Is it the same? And him like, I don't know, maybe. It was a lot of fun. And then the next bit is tummy and bottom. And you know what was the hardest thing out of all of this? Was admitting that I had a tummy and that I had a bottom. And making this really brings you face to face with your body image. So to get serious for a minute, yeah, it really does, because you want, the whole point of this is that it's going to look exactly like you do in real life. It's not going to look like you do in your fantasy perfect imagination, and it's not going to look like you do in your I'm a fat heifer imagination. I hope you don't have one of them, but we all have, many of us have days where we feel that way out. Hopefully it will look like you. So a stranger with no prejudgment and none of that baggage will go, yeah, I could pick out of a lineup, that dress form fits that woman's body shape. And that's hard. That, for me anyway, it's hard. It really, you know, I can sit here and I'm stood here actually, I can stand here and I can say to you, yeah, my waist is smaller than my hips. My waist is 2 sizes smaller than my hips. Or rather, my hips are 2 sizes larger than my waist. But making that and stuffing that was an interesting psychological process, shall we say. But worth it. Initially, when I finished, I was horrified. I was like, oh, swear word, is that really what I look like? But she stands in my sewing room the whole time, and I walk past her every time I enter the room, so multiple times every single day, because it's not just sewing that I do in here. And I'm used to it, and it's normalised it for me, and it's like, yeah, it's okay, that is my body shape, and that's okay. And it was also okay to feel weird about coming face to face with it the first time. But taking a mature level view of it, if I want to make good sewing stuff, there is no point in me doing this thinking I am a different body shape to reality, because I will dress the wrong body shape and I won't flatter myself. So it was quite tough, and that took me by surprise. You know, I thought it might be a little bit of a technical challenge. I sort of anticipated that the stuffing would be tricky to get the firmness and the shape right. I didn't anticipate that I would make it and go, oh, right, bum. But I did. So I guess that needs to be a little bit of a warning that if you do feel shaky about yourself, this could be a really healthy exercise. And you know what? I can see this really, really, really helping some people with their body image, either because they need to come face to face with something they don't want to admit, or because they need to see that actually, do you know what? You don't look like a lumpy alien. You're beautiful and it's fine. But just bear it in mind, because if it's something that you find quite tricky to deal with, maybe it's not something you want to do, or maybe you want to do it with support, or at one of those times when you're feeling more positive than otherwise. So take care of yourself if you do that. Just back onto the technical stuff. The way that you get the stuffing right is you stuff, and then you measure around. So these lines you sew on as you go, and they're really useful for using the form, because you've got the bust line, you've got the underbust, you've got the waist, you've got the hip, and when you've got your patterns you can compare those parts, and you know, it makes it really useful. So you stuff and then you measure around there and you go, oh okay, she's too big or she's too small, I'll stuff more, I'll take less, take some out. So you adjust it like that, and it's a long process. It took me a good few hours to actually do it, and I did it in a number of goes. It's quite physically hard too. And then she's made. In her middle, kind of not where your spine would be, it's slightly further forward because of the way she's made, there is a bit of plastic waste pipe. It's about like this. In fact, let me show you. So in the middle of her is this. I think the diameter of that is about 3 centimetres ish. There you go. Again, it's in the instructions. That goes up the middle of her all the way up to the top, and then the final thing that you have to sort out is how she stands up. Now as I've already said in the first video, I had an existing dress form, so I took the legs from that. She's going to hit the ceiling in a minute. I took the legs from that, and hang on, you're going to have to move. Here we go. Took the legs from that, and she stands on that. So basically I had a pole already and I stuck it up inside her, and that gave me the perfect solution. However, you might not have one of those, so they recommend getting a coat hat stand, an old-fashioned hat stand, something like that, which would be also an ideal solution. You can get them from a second-hand shop, but you need something to stand her up. If you're just going to make tops and you don't want them to be lower than hip height, you could just stand her on a table. That would work. But if you want to make a skirt or anything like that, you are going to have to find something. Maybe be creative about what you find. If you've got a handy person in your life, it's pretty easy. It would be like the legs on a bird table. So you just need one pole and then something on the bottom, 3 or 4, a tripod or a quad, to stand her still, and you need to add that in. Okay. So my summary, I chose a dark fabric. You can choose, I'll add this in at the end, but one of the great things about this is you can have your dress form any colour, any design, anything that you want, and the website seems to make out that they sell quite a few of them to shops that want to have, you know, funky looking dress forms, mannequins for their displays, which would be great. But it does mean you can have it anything. You don't have to have that ugly maroon thing I showed you. No offence, but this, it's funny felt stuff, and it's not the most beautiful thing. Whereas you could actually put this in your bedroom or in your wardrobe if you wanted to, if you didn't have space in your sewing room, or you could even make one, because she holds your clothes perfectly. Nothing's going to get crumpled on her. So the fabric I chose was from my stash. No idea what it is. It's got to be something stable that doesn't stretch, and it's got a slight sort of felt texture to it, and this has a really significant pro and a really significant con, and it relates to the same property of it. And what it is that fabric sticks to it. Okay, so that is brilliant when you want to drape something. You can literally, look, I've just put a piece of fabric on there and it stayed. There's no pins, there's no nothing, it's just supporting itself. The con is when you have a garment and you want it to flow, It will do that, but initially its instinct will be, for most fabrics, it'll be a bit sticky. So you just have to whoosh it around and fluff it around until it releases its grip and it actually hangs off the pieces of the dress form that you want it to hang off. So it's worth spending a moment thinking about, do I want to choose something that has that slightly felty, grippy texture? And you can test it. You hold up your fabric, you hold up another bit of fabric, and do the two of them have a little bit of friction against each other that sort of sticks them together? So if you want that quality, then go for that. If you don't, and you want something that's going to be a bit more fluid and basically will let fabric skim off it, then choose a fabric that has that quality. Whatever you choose, it needs to be medium thickness and really sturdy with zero stretch, because if it stretches, it's not going to be the size it's supposed to be. That may have been quite a long video, but I hope that you've enjoyed it. This dress form, in summary, I think it's just a genius idea. I think it's just absolutely genius. And I don't know why I haven't seen any other dressmakers across YouTube using it, because it's perfectly sized for your body and it's cheap and it works, and the customer service was great. So if you are wanting to get a dress form and you're willing to put in a few hours work for something that really is good at the end of it, then do this. If you want to spend £100–200 on something that will do a reasonable job, or if you sew for other people and you need that adjustability, then yeah, go for a shop bought one. But if you're just sewing for you, then she's the girl for you. Thank you very much for watching. I would love it if you would subscribe. I would love it even more if you would comment down below, because I love to have a conversation with you guys. And I will see you again really soon. Bye.